Hey guys, here's your guys' notes on graphing polynomial functions, but now we are factoring, kind of like part 2. So, for the first part, you guys, now instead of having factored form, we have standard form. So we have to be able to factor this in order to figure out what our zeros are from standard form. So we can factor out a 2x from both every term, so divide each by 2 and take away 1x away from all. X squared plus 4x minus 12. And now this is an a equals 1 trinomial case, you guys. So x method, we get 6 and negative 2. So 2x times x plus 6 times x minus 2. And then if you take a look at this, you guys, you can figure out what your zeros are from this. So a 0 is, if you plug it in, is that specific factor going to be 0? So for this one, x equals 0. This one, x equals negative 6. This one, x equals 2. And that's true because if you guys plug in 0 into that x, isn't 2 times 0 0? So that works. If you plugged in negative 6 into that, isn't negative 6 plus 6, you guys, 6? And if you plug in 2 into that factor, you guys, isn't 2 minus 2 0? So those are all the factors of your guys's, those are all the factors of your polynomial, and those corresponding zeros are the zeros for that polynomial. So here's the strategies for graphing. Factor the given function. Remember to factor out the GCF and then use your whatever method you have to. Find the x-intercept, so mark all the zeros on the x-axis. Determine the end behavior. Determine the multiplicity for each x-intercept. Does the graph touch or cross? And find the y-intercept. Plug in 0 in for x or compute f of 0. So here's this. So we have to first, that's the standard form. So let's find our factors so that we can find our zeros. You can divide each by 2 and you guys can take out take away 3 x's from each. X squared plus 11x plus 18. Again, this is a equals 1 case, you guys, so you guys can factor out it. You guys can use your x method and you find 9 and 2. 2x to the third times x plus 9 times x plus 2. So this has a 0 at x equals 0, this has a 0 at x equals negative 9, and this has a 0 at x equals negative 2. First degree, third degree, and you guys use your powers, look at your powers to know your multiplicities. So x equals 0, x equals negative 9, x equals negative 2. The multiplicity for the x equals 0 is 3. Because it has a power of 3. The multiplicity for both of these factors, you guys, is 1. So those have multiplicity of 1. So at an odd multiplicity besides 1, it's going to slide. And at multiplicities of 1, you guys, they're going to cross. And now let's find your guys' degree. I would use standard form. You could find it from factored form, you guys, but I would use standard form to find your highest degree, which is 5, and your guys' leading coefficients 2. And behavior, leading coefficients positive. Your guys' degree is odd. So positive odd, which is down and then up. And y-intercept, if you guys plug in 0 into that, it's just going to be 0, 0. So let's graph everything. Down, up. Plot your guys' 0, so at x equals 0, at x equals negative 9, and at x equals negative 2. Okay, now let's go about this. So we are approaching negative 9, you guys. So at negative 9, you guys, it crosses. So you're just going to cross right through that x. Right through that 0. So curve it down, start to curve it down so we get to figure out what we do at that 0. And at negative 2, you guys, you cross. So at negative 2, we're just going to go right through it. Now, at x equals 0, you guys, This is where it's going to slide. And when you guys slide, go back up so we can interact with this 0. And you guys are gonna slide and go up. Okay. So when you guys graph, I should clearly see that there's a difference between a slide and a cross, right? Cross, you go through it. Slide, you go through it, but you gotta do this like little horizontal slide across it. Okay? Make sure you guys scale from 1 through 5 your guys' level of understanding of this. Okay? Next, we got this. So again, you guys got a factor, so you guys can divide each one by 2, and you guys could take 1x away. So divide each one by -2 and take away an x. So we get x squared plus 3x minus 54. We factor this, so a is equals to 1k. So you guys, we have -54 and 3. The two numbers that multiply together gives you -54, but when added gives you guys 3. That's 9 and -6. And since a is equals to 1, you guys just use the two side numbers. -2x times x plus 9 times x minus 6. So we have x equals 0 there. We have a 0 of x equals -9, and we have a 0 of x equals 6. And if you guys look at the powers of all these, they are all powers of 1, each factor. So x equals 0, x equals -9, and x equals 6. And they all have a power of 1, so all of these are multiplicities of 1. And since they're all multiplicity of 1s, you guys, it crosses whenever it's multiplicity of 1. Find the degree. Look at the first one, right? You have a degree of 3. Leading coefficient is negative. So we got a negative leading coefficient with a degree that is odd. So negative odd, you guys, is down and then up and then down. And y-intercept is 0, 0, because if you guys plug in 0 for x, it is 0. So up and then down. Your guys' zeros are x equals 0, at x equals -9, and at x equals 6. And then at every interaction at each 0, you guys, they all cross. So at x equals -9, you're going to go right through it. Cross. Start to curve it so that we can interact with the x equals 0, 0. So cross again. And then we got to curve it so it can interact with x equals 6. So cross. And there's your guys' graph. And again, make sure you guys scale from 1 through 5 on your level of understanding. Okay, last one here. We can factor out x squared from all of them, you guys. So 2x squared plus 3x minus 9. Now, it's an a greater than 1 case. So that means we have to factor this trinomial by grouping. -18, 3, 6, -3. We gotta use these 4 terms to factor, or to group, to use for our grouping. So 2x squared plus 6x minus 3x minus 9. Group. Factor out a 2x to get x plus 3. Factor out a -3, you guys, to get x plus 3. So factors 2x minus 3 and x plus 3, and don't forget the x squared that we factored out in the beginning. So this has a 0 at x equals 0. This one has a 0 at x equals -3. Now this middle one, you guys, it's not 3. Because if you plug in 3 into this x, you guys, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. So to find this 0, you guys have to set it equals to 0, the whole factor, and then you guys solve it traditionally. 2x equals 3, divide both by 2, x is equals to 3/2. And if you guys don't know what -3/2 is, that's 1.5. And if you guys forgot, 2 goes into 3 once, 2 goes into 5, 5, 1.5, 2 goes into 3, 1.5 times. So x equals 0, x equals 3/2, you guys, which is 1.5, and x is equals to -3. Okay, at x equals 0, there was a multiplicity, there was a second degree. This one, first degree, this factor, first degree. So at x equals 0, it was a multiplicity of 2. This one, multiplicity of 1. This one, multiplicity of 1. So for multiplicity of 2, you guys, that is a bounce. And for the 1s, it's crosses. And then to find your guys' biggest degree, look at the highest degree, which is 4. Leading coefficient's 2. So leading coefficient's positive. Your guys' degree is 4, which is even. So positive even is up, up. Y-intercept 0, 0, because you guys plug in 0 in for x, it is 0. So here we go. Up, up. Plot your guys' zeros at x equals 0, x equals -3. 1.5, you guys, is in between 1 and 2. So there's 1.5. So when we graph this, we are approaching at -3. So at -3, you guys, you just go right through it. You just cross right through it. At x equals 0, it's a bounce. So you guys gotta bounce off of that 0. So bounce. And then at 3/2, you guys, that's a cross. You guys just go right through that one. And there you guys go. So consistently practice your guys' graphing. Again, make sure you guys do your scale of 1 to 5. And please, please, please don't forget what's one new thing you learned in this lecture. Okay? Good luck, you guys. Peace.